Hey guys, it's me, Brittany, and there is Momo taking a cat nap behind me. Let's get into this video. This is a video that I've actually been requested to make, and it is all the details about this little guy right here, my passport. I want to tell you guys all about the experience, documents that I was glad that I brought with me on the day that I turned in the paperwork, and a document that I am missing now, and I'm not sure when it will be back in my possession. So let's talk about all of the details right now. And the most important detail that I'm going to go ahead and mention right now is if you are applying for a passport, if you are thinking about it, considering it, needing to apply for one in the near future, do it today. Do it right now. Pause the video. Down in the description box is the link. Click it, go on ahead and start printing the papers off and start filling it out as you continue to watch this video to get more tips on how to get a passport book. And let's hop on in. So like I just said a moment ago, in the description box will be all of the links and all the important details that I feel is like a must-have for getting your passport book squared away, getting all the paperwork processed. So go on ahead and grab that travel.state.gov website, make it into a bookmark on your computer, have a separate tab for it because that's how you're going to be checking your status updates. That's where you'll print all of the paperwork to fill out, and any Q&A, questions, phone numbers, any important information is going to be on that website, and it's just easy to have that available and access it quickly. I probably checked that website every 2 to 3 days after I turned in all of my paperwork because I wanted to know the status of every single detail. I actually wrote in a calendar, so I'm able to tell you guys the day I turned in my paperwork, the day my passport was in their office, the day it was approved, and the day it was here at my house. I wanted to do that so you guys can see the window of time. Now, the big important part that I need to mention is now that the world is opened up more countries are allowing visitors and travelers to come in, getting a passport book now has a longer window than whenever I applied. So if you are considering a trip in the next 6 to 8 months, you need to apply for a passport today, just in case there's any issues or you need to resubmit certain paperwork. You will have a long enough window and a turnaround time available that you will be getting your passport before your departure. So go on ahead, get it all filled out now. If you're having a trip in the next year or so, still go on ahead and fill it out. These passport books for adults last 10 years. Now, whenever it comes to children, a passport is a little bit more lengthy because it involves both parents and you both have to be present for certain documentations to be signed and notarized. Therefore, I'm not talking about children in this video. We have not considered getting Holly a passport yet. So whenever the time does come, maybe I could do a follow-up video on that. Now, let's get into my experience with a passport. I have been wanting a passport for a few years now. I was under the impression that they costed hundreds upon hundreds of dollars, and surprisingly, it's a lot more affordable than I thought. So I finally decided at the beginning of January, I was gonna sit down, take the time and fill out the paperwork and get a passport rolling. I had already booked a cruise, and on cruise ships, you typically don't have to have a passport. You just have to have some documentation showing your residency, your birth certificate. So you can still do a cruise. As long as it's not a transatlantic cruise, you can do one without a passport book. But I wanted to go ahead and get a passport so I can experience what it's like traveling on a cruise ship with a passport book. And overall, it is a very, very easy process for checking in onto the cruise ship, disembarkment, all of it. So I will say a passport is very handy on a cruise ship. But aside from that, I have filled out the paperwork. And my first really, really, really big tip is going ahead and make multiple prints of the paperwork because you cannot print these double-sided. I made that mistake. I filled out all the pages and then I realized you cannot do these double-sided. They have to be single-sided prints. So go on ahead and print a few copies because if you do make a mistake, you cannot use whiteout. You can't, like, you know, if you accidentally make a number look weird, you can't just keep marking on it to try to make it look right. Go on ahead and do your best of the best penmanship. Take your time on it. So I probably made 3 copies of the paperwork. I filled them out. The first one I botched, the second one I kind of botched, but I made a third copy, and then I picked the best of the two and submitted that with all of the other paperwork that was required. Now, when it came to a passport photo, there's a few ways to do it. You can go and do your passport photo the day that you turn in your paperwork, as long as the location you're dropping it all off has a passport photo station. My location, my USPS, had a photo station, but I decided not to do it. I actually went to my local Walgreens and had it done, and it was very simple, very easy, and super quick. You can also do a passport photo yourself, but you need to read online all of the details. You can't edit it, you can't Photoshop it, you can't have it a certain colorway. You really need to have a nice, true photo of yourself. And another big thing is I made sure not to wear white when I had my photo taken, because it was a white backdrop. I actually just wore a black t-shirt, a black crew neck shirt, kind of like this one, but it was just pure black. And I made sure my hair wasn't all in my face. I made sure that they had a clean view of my face, since that is the most important part. This is for your identification in other countries. Even though you want to smile and be glamorous, it's best to just give them a straightforward look, so if something ever happened, they have a good image of you and your features of your face. So on the 29th, I had the passport photos taken. It took maybe like 5 minutes. It was less than $8. And then on the 31st of January, by 10:41 a.m., I had turned in all of my paperwork. So whenever I turned in all the documentation to my local USPS, they did print out a receipt with all of my information numbers that I can use on the travel.state.gov website. They told me to log in a week from the day that I turned in the paperwork. So a week after January 31st, I can type in all of those informations and the ID number to see the status. They said it would take at least a week before the paperwork arrived. That's why they went on ahead and told me to just wait a little while before I logged in to the account to see the status. And sure enough, on February 7th, I went onto travel.state.gov website and typed in all the information, and it said that my paperwork had been received that day. And right then and there, it said it will take at least 6 to 8 weeks before the passport is approved. I went on ahead, pinged a couple dates in the calendar, what was 6 weeks, what was 8 weeks, what was 7 weeks, so I can have like that window to watch out for. But I will be honest, I logged in every 2 to 3 days to see what the status was, to see if it was pending, to see if there's any questions, because if there is something wrong, that's where you would need to dispute those issues, is through the travel.state.gov website. That's where they would notify you if something didn't add up right, or if they need another documentation sent to them. But to my surprise, in March, on the 22nd, I received notification that it had been approved. So that was a little bit earlier than what I was predicting. I was actually predicting somewhere between the 1st and the 2nd week of April is when it would be approved. And on the 22nd, they said it had been approved and it will be mailed out to me. It took less than a week and it arrived in my mailbox. So it was very quick, in my opinion, the whole process was. Now, on February 2nd, I did see online through Facebook, and I went onto travel.state.gov's website, and sure enough, they had said on February 2nd that any passports that was being turned in on that exact date and so forth, there was going to be a little bit of a longer window for it to be processed and mailed to you. I was a little bit worried because I had just turned mine in a couple of days prior, so I wasn't sure if I was lumped into that window or not. But to my surprise, it did arrive much earlier than expected. Once again, I do want to point out that if you are planning a trip in the next 6 to 8 months, go on ahead and fill out a passport application today. The sooner you can get it done, the sooner it'll arrive to you, and the better off you'll be when it comes to stress and being able to plan your trip more smoothly. I will admit though, I think the best times to apply for passports is during those slow times. So around like January is a good time because I submitted my paperwork and everyone seemed very calm, cool, and collected during that process. Probably around October and September are good times as well. So just keep that in mind too if you are looking at a calendar and trying to come up with future trips. The slow times I feel like for passport applications is the months that it's not as busy. If you are married and you are filling out for a passport, definitely have your marriage license with you. If you are separated and or divorced, also have any type of documentations of that as well. They are going to want copies of it. What I ended up doing was bring all the papers. So my driver's license, my social security number, card, all of that with me. Even though I'd already made copies at my house, I brought the original documents as well to show them in case they needed to make a copy for any type of reasons. Maybe they didn't like the way I made the copies. So I just had all the original documents. I had the copy documents that I planned to give them. Whenever you turn in all your paperwork, all the copies, you will have to submit your original birth certificate, or at least a birth certificate that is embossed. Now, that is where I'm a little bit concerned, because when my passport book arrived, my birth certificate was not with it, and I turned in my original one that is 32 years old. Like, my OG birth certificate was given to them, and I haven't heard anything. I haven't received any notification or any tracking number about it. I did go online and I seen that they are now mailing them separately. They mail the passport book first and then your birth certificate. But today, while I'm filming this, it is May 18th, and this arrived at the end of March. So it's been a little while. I'm a little concerned, mainly because I don't want that in the wrong hands or lost or just gone. Now, worst case scenario, if you do need to get a birth certificate copy with the emboss on it, you just have to go and pick one up. The issue for me is I live in Florida now and my birth certificate is in North Carolina. So I'm gonna have to take a trip up there or pay a ton of money, because I went on their website to see how much it would be to mail a embossed copy to me, and it's a lot of money. So I'm gonna have to eventually do that if I don't receive my original one back from the passport handling office. But I'm gonna reach out to them and see. I'll let you know in the description box below what they told me, because I think I'm gonna have to email them and request it and see what they actually say about my issue. And as always, if you have any questions about applying for a passport or you need any help, all you have to do is just reach out to me. I have all my social media links below. I actually have had quite a few people reach out wanting to know the status of my passport and if I had any issues with anything. So I love answering questions and helping out. I feel like my experience has given me a little bit more knowledge on how to handle the passport process. I do have some family members that's already told me they're considering getting one in the near future and would like me to help guide them. So definitely find a friend, find a family member, or even reach out to me if you have any questions. I will, of course, be able to help as much as possible. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.